Hello, you're watching World Talks on TVP World. My name is Sascha Fahrbach. Poland is being represented by Finance Minister and Governor of the National Bank of Poland at the G20 meeting of finance ministers, which took place in Washington, D.C. on Thursday, marking its first participation in the group's formal process, following an invitation from the United States as Warsaw pushes for a permanent seat among the world's leading economies. Now, coming in with strong headline indicators, low unemployment and robust growth forecasts, the question is whether that economic momentum is enough to translate into lasting influence at the top table. And joining us now is Jadwiga Emilewicz, former Polish Deputy Prime Minister and member of the board of the Sobieski Institute. Good to have you with us. Good morning.
Thank you very much for the invitation. Good morning. Good morning.
So let's start with the first indicators here. I mean, this is an invitation. It's not a permanent membership. But what does that mean practically, tangibly? How much influence does Poland have because of this?
Yeah, thank you for mentioning that, because a lot of people is thinking that we all are already around this table. We've been invited. We are applying. We're very glad that Polish economy is so robust development and performer. We are one of the highest development grades within the European Union, with the lowest, as you mentioned, unemployment rate, and with a good forecast, even in this rather tough year. But still, we are developing faster than the biggest partners, like, for instance, Germany. But, of course, we are applying, and that's good that both government and the presidential circle is making a strong effort to convince all the time, because this is necessary to be done during this year, actually, to convince another 19 participants in the group that Poland should be really invited and should be really a member. What does it matter right now? So basically, I would say that there is a lot of new articles not only in the TVP world, but also in the United Kingdom, United States, in Brazil, in Mexico, when there is a loop on Poland right now. Why? Because we've been invited, because we are mentioning quite significantly often by the President of the United States as the country who might be in the room and who is going to be invited to Miami summit at the end of this year. So the people started to think, well, what Poland means, what are they doing there? And there is a lot of interesting articles about the Polish miracle of economy. And that's good. So that is the first point, which we were lacking for last 30 years, not being mentioned and not being recognized globally. So the first point. The second one is that once it is happening, that is the huge potential, because of course the membership itself, it is not a grant itself, because you can see it also as a membership in the European Union. Poland with other Central European countries entered to this unity in 2004, but not every single country in the region used this opportunity as fluently as Poland did. So this growth and the usage of the structural funds in the Polish economy here performed better than, for instance, in Czech Republic or in Hungary. After this 25 years, we can really say that. So the membership in G20 is also the same. I treat it fully the same. What can happen? Basically, we can once again deliver the information that we are attractive part of land in the central part of Europe for foreign direct investment. We are predictable. We've got a good legal framework. I do believe that the government will complete the legal framework this year, supportive for foreign direct investment. So we elaborated heavily for European powers. So now the time is for Brazil, Mexico, so-called mid powers, the global south. This is potential for them right now. And the other way around, this is also the potential for the Polish big entities which are eligible and strong enough to go abroad. Go abroad means not to the Union, to the European Union, but South America, South Africa, or Asia. But it is not going to be granted. So it must be supported, boosted by the state, by the agencies, by the insurances, by the specific funds dedicated by, for instance, the Polish Development Bank with their fund for expansion. So it should be a little bit boosted, supported by such tools.
You mentioned that this economic miracle is also what the head of the IMF mentioned a few days ago, that also Poland deserves that place at the table. You also said the benefits of the European Union and all that. So in your time also in government, in the previous government, how do you see, and what was that, let's say, one or two factors that built on this momentum, even also before your time? What was one or two of those things that resulted now in this $1 trillion economy or euro economy that we have here?
Let me bring once again, I will come back to this foreign direct investment. So the foreign direct investment has been counted for the end of 2024 as roughly 350 billion euro, and which gives also another 9% in general in the GDP, in Polish GDP, and 90% growth of employment places. So this is really something, and it happens thanks to the smoothly entering the foreign direct investment. So definitely coming to the European Union, this is one of the profits that we have. But the main, after this 22 years of our membership in Europe, I would say today the main benefit is a common European market. So which gives the profits today. We are granted more with the common market than with the structural funds, which were extremely important at the very beginning in 2004 when we've got 19% of unemployment. Whereas today it is less important because we generate the domestic money for investments on a higher position than those that are coming from the structural funds, whereas common market is a really significant impact on the Polish economy. So the well usage of the European market, when, for instance, transportation services are being the lead, Polish companies are the leading companies in Europe, but not only, of course, and foreign direct investments and well usage of structural funds. I should mention that, of course, because what we see today, we had less than 300 kilometers high-speed roads in 2004. Today, it is 10 times more. So, and definitely massive amount of money was directly from the structural funds. So that three factors I would say as the main issues that happen and
right.
that.
Now, and I think also looking at the future, I know that this is a joint effort. I mean, Poland is invited, but that also includes the presidency and also the government. Tell us, if you can, a little bit about what success looks like. I know that there's been something tangible, perhaps, that the government, or rather the presidency, would like to achieve in all of this. Is there some kind of plan, a report, or any kind like this? Can you tell us something like that for the future?
Well, I must say that what should happen, and I would like to see it, of course, in Poland nowadays, as in many European countries, we are having the struggles and tensions, political tensions between government and in Poland, in the Polish constitution, we've got the tension on external relations between government and the president. But what I would like to see, that this should be definitely mutual effort. So, for instance, today presence of the Minister of Finance in the United States should be supported by the presidential circle, but the other way around, of course, when the presidential minister, it is Minister Przydacz who is dealing with the issue of G20 in the presidential palace, should be also supported by the government, because other ways around, it is understandable outside when the people here, we can have a strong discussion in Poland, that's normal, this is democracy, but we should speak one voice. I would love to see this situation as it has happened 2 days ago in Italian parliament in Poland, and I do believe that we would have the same, because this is our common goal. So,
right. But speaking also about common, as you said, this is still something of very, as you mentioned already, good in terms of the brand of Poland.
Yeah.
If we're looking also a little bit more at that, I mean, there's some if you look at the invitation that came from President Trump to President Nawrocki, but at the same time, it includes Poland now in this process. There are some criticisms, for instance, that South Africa is not going to be there. There's also the mention that, well, Switzerland is actually growing a little bit faster and more than Poland. I mean, so how do we address all those critiques and criticisms in the situation?
Well, so the last point you have mentioned, Switzerland, of course, there is the data, but of course the economy data are always, you can pick up some of them in time, in a specific time, and say, oh, they are a bit higher than the country. I would suggest, and this is, once again, there are data, and then you've got the political process. And in this political process, what is important and should be mentioned, that would be the first country in the G20 club from this region, which is really significant. If you count the population, it is the population and the size and scope, it is like France and Germany together. If you count the number of people with on higher education with the STEAM, which has been granted with the STEAM grades, the population is higher than in the whole United States. So, not in Poland, as I mentioned, but in the Central Europe. So we, as the representative in this club, it is important to listen to the countries from this region, because you've got in this club, you've got representatives from all around, all the world, but specifically not from this one. We are now having the discussion about globalization, discussion about the national egoisms in the economy as well. So this voice should not be underestimated in this club. So we should have, of course, count the numbers, which are very optimistic for the Polish side, but also you can discuss it, and also you should convince, and this is the work that should be done from the Polish side, to convince your partner in G20 why it is necessary to have the country as Poland in this club. What can we deliver to this club? We can deliver the example of this economy miracle that could be presented in some other parts of the world as the example, and it happened thanks to the global institutions, as World Bank, as International Monetary Fund. So that could be also the good example. So convincing not only by the numbers, but also as the good impact to this club, what can be delivered by the country as Poland.
Mm-hmm. And also, I've been looking, just one final thing, any challenges you see in the future for Poland in this, or is this growth going to be sustainable, just briefly?
Well, we are in a very difficult time. So the situation, the Hormuz Peninsula, and the war and the prices for fuels. Could we predict that at the beginning of this year? Of course not. So very unstable time, and luckily the prediction for Poland still good enough for future. But definitely it is not time to say and drink peacefully your coffee. You should be very. You should work very hard and very heavily to say that yes, the situation here is stable for the direct investments, for development of your businesses, and this is the main threat which I observe. It is that unstable situation with our Eastern partners and what's going on nowadays in Iran, Israel, and the U.S. war.
But as you said, Poland by the table. And I think that's going to be an interesting one when we get to the summit. Thank you so much.
Thank you very much.
That was our guest here, Jadwiga Emilewicz, the former Polish Deputy Prime Minister, speaking about today. Thank you. And thank you for watching. That concludes World Talks, but stay right here on TVP World for more. Goodbye.